So my battery on my microphone went out yesterday when I was making this video. So this is the remake. So after this gentleman explained his conceptualization of how there is no such thing as a creator and why it doesn't make sense, the fact that there has to be some type of material, some type of matter, some existence, some pre-existence in order for there to be a type of creation, but it is not really creation, but merely transmutation of one item into another item, such as transforming wood into a stool, as the example that he gave, thereby making him the creator of the stools. But in truth, he is not a creator, but is just transmuting and redefining what the wood is. Therefore, the idea of a creator is void, because a creator is not creating based on coming out of nothingness, because as we, both Christians and non-Christians, can agree, nothing can come, something cannot come out of nothingness. But yet a Christian will say that their God is eternal and came out of nothingness. Well, that would be an oxymoron or a contradiction, one of the two, but it wouldn't work. So I'm going to cast a bit of my pearls before swine, because usually this is not the type of video I would do on just a public forum. In order to understand how there is no such thing as a creator or a creation, it is merely because of the idea that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, that energy has always existed, just as the universe has always existed. When you consider the science that we do know of, we do know that scientifically we can see singularities that are still happening in our universe today. That a mass of energy has come together and then exploded. And from that explosion, gas giants, stars are being created. And from that material, planets at some point will be created. In the same way that we see it happening within our universe, the same happened for what we understand to be our universe today. For as far as we know, our current understanding of our universe is merely a singularity inside of a larger universe that is just unknown to us. And this condensing and expansion is a repetitive cycle. And there would be a consistency within this, to the point that we would never be able to know, because in that destruction we would all be destroyed. All our knowledge, all our monuments, everything destroyed and reborn again. And this cycle has happened for eternity. In the same way that someone would say that their God is eternal, so is the universe. And even if, when I loosely use the term that we exist in the mind of the all in the same way of a dream, even for the all to create and manifest us in the mind of itself, there had to be a pre-existing situation that allowed for that to occur. The energy of mind, the energy of thought, the conceptions of universe, of gas giants, of stars, of planets, of beings, of animals, of all the things that exist in the universe. There is a preconception of that, in the same way that you have this preconception when you dream. Because when you dream, your dreams are manifesting things that your mind has already been turned on to. Therefore, the mind of the all must have something that it is pulling from in order for it to manifest, even in its mind, our material universe. Which means that it's not truly a creator, but transmuting energies of thought into matter from previous ideas or previous things that is known in whatever conception of a universe it lives in. Your gods would be the exact same way, but as a matter of fact, the way your gods are explained in your books, almost all of them saw that it was in darkness. Now, what we know is that there is no such thing as darkness. There's no such thing as being void. That the universe abhors a vacuum. Therefore, even when your book says void, it is speaking from a low-level scientific mind. It wasn't too long ago that we realized that what we thought was empty space in the darkness is not empty space. That matter and energy exist in that empty space. We thought the molecule was the smallest, then the atom, then the protons, neutrons, and electrons, but now we know that even within the micro universe, there is matter, even in between the protons, neutrons, and electrons. There is no emptiness, there is no void. Something can be void of this type of life or that type of life, but there is no void. And then your books go on to say that there was waters above the waters, or the Ruach of God fluttered above the waters, that it was void and formless, but then his breath floated above the waters. It speaks of these waters without speaking of creating these waters, so therefore those waters were already there. No matter what religion you're coming from, there is generally an idea of some existence of some matter prior to your deity forming the earth. That the earth was formed from whatever chaotic waters were already previously there. Therefore, it is not a creation, but a transmutation of this matter form to a new matter form. The hardest part for any Christian, for anybody of any religion, for anybody of any science to ever say, and scientists don't necessarily have a problem with this one, it is the fact of saying that I don't know, and I will probably never will know. If there is a beginning to the universe, to which there is not in our knowledge today, we will never know. If there is a beginning to man's creation, we will never know. It takes a highly evolved mind to be able to stand in its confidence and say, I do not know. And not knowing doesn't hinder the thought processes that I proceed from. Many are going to come on here and say, well, then if you're breathing the air, where did the air come from? You're able to breathe. That is an indication of God. No, this is an indication of your God of the gaps. That because you have an inability to say, I don't know, or it's possible, or it's possibly not, for you, it has to be the God of the gaps. But for the illuminated, we don't have a problem saying, I don't know. For the illuminated, we do not have a problem in recognizing that the universe is eternal and that the universe expands and contracts, that the universe is not perfect. We don't have a problem with saying that there is no perfection in heaven and there is no damnation in hell. That throughout the universe, it demonstrates that even in what we would deem to be the most perfect situation, there are imperfections within what we call the most perfect situations. This is embodied in many of the stories of wars in heaven. Heaven is supposed to be so perfect, but yet there was a war in heaven. Heaven after this existence is supposed to be so perfect, but yet there exists a hell, which is the polar opposite of it. And in heaven, it is known that there are those who are suffering in hell. So that knowledge itself would be an imperfection in heaven, that you maintain knowledge of your ancestors, your predecessors, your family members being condemned and burning in hell. What did Irenaeus say? That one of the joys of heaven is to look over the edges of heaven and see all those burning in hell. A clear demonstration of imperfection in what you would call perfection. The healthiest being on this planet still have dormant cancer cells within their body. Everybody is born with them. That is an imperfection within what is the most healthiest person, what would be the closest you would call perfection. So there is no such thing as perfection, and so there is no such thing as the heaven and hell that people scream about. Many are going to have a hard time with this, and you're going to go right to your God of the gaps, and what the hell is he talking about? It is because these are pearls before some swine. So y'all have a great day.